February 3rd, 2020. You guys, it's been a couple days, and I don't just want to jump into articles and start reading information, but really just want to have a talk and talk to you guys about some of the things that obviously I feel are important. So it is really important to me that people understand how much toxins we're exposed to every single day. And a lot of it is in our control, and a lot of it's not. So that's why I really harp on things where you have choice, right? Vaccines, of course, I talk a lot about. And if you haven't seen any of my past videos about it, go back and watch. I have one, Vaccines Safe and Effective, which they're not either. Social engineering touches on that. The aluminum toxicity video touches on that. So there's a lot of toxicity we face injection-wise that follows us the rest of our lives. And then the other area of most importance, outside of chemicals in our home, of course, because we're breathing in this environment every day, is our food. And, we haven't really gone down the avenue of how to shop and read ingredients and avoid artificial flavors and avoid monosodium glutamate. Yes, we've talked about excitotoxins, and that's also important. There's so many things, right? So many things. But there's simple changes you can make to really start reducing that toxic load on each and every one of your bodies, especially for you and your children, and that is how you shop. And you really need to start paying attention to non-GMO verified and USDA certified organic, because this is really going to reduce by a large margin the amount of pesticides, herbicides, insecticides that you are ingesting in your food, and especially in processed foods, because corn and soy, whether it's a corn syrup, a soy oil, isolated proteins, whatever it's going to be, they're in everything. And there's tons and tons of toxins. And so, of course, I've talked a lot about how these genetically modified foods are either modified to increase a natural Bt toxin at unnatural levels, making them very dangerous for human consumption as well as animal consumption, which has a chain reaction down to us. And then the other is genetically modified to be herbicide resistant. And the number one out there is going to be Roundup resistant, because that's created by Monsanto, but there's other glyphosate products out there. So there's other glyphosate resistant seeds that you can buy from other big agriculture companies. And you may have just seen over the last couple days, the EPA has gone ahead and said again that they believe glyphosate is safe and that all these GMO crops are good to go, and these are subsidized by the government. So it makes the junk food and the food that's going to make you sick super cheap and affordable, while they profit big time on it. Where you need to be investing your money is in your health and in your diet. And that means learning how to shop for organic, clean food, and then even taking a step further once you get to that point and learning how to avoid even crap that they get into certified organic products. Really, your best bet is to buy whole foods and come home and make your meals. And of course, there's going to be times where convenience might win with the processed and fast foods, but that needs to be rare instances, and that needs to be not your normal. Okay, you want your normal to be clean, home-cooked meals. So I just find it interesting that Bayer sets aside $10 billion to settle lawsuits. Independent research, multiple independent research shows that this is causing cancer. This is causing endocrine disruption and irregularities in the human body. This is causing central nervous system damage. This is causing neurological disorders, and nobody cares because you don't think about it. When you're going out and you're shopping, you feel like you walk into a grocery store and it's a safe place to buy your food. Well, it's not. You need to know what you're purchasing. So I don't even have a lot of time today, so I just want to talk a little bit about beyond Roundup. Okay, if you do watch any of my videos, you know that Roundup is bad news. and genetically modified organisms will harm you and your children. Okay? Not even specifically from the pesticide, just the science of genetically modifying, inserting foreign genes into a plant, causing this cascade of side effects epigenetically from the plant. It affects us as we eat it, causing infertility, causing, especially for girls, a lot of cancers in the mammary glands because it's affecting your mammary hormones, your ovarian, your breast cancer, all kinds of things, kidney damage, liver damage, all these things. And then you add the pesticide and make it even worse. Obviously, endocrine disruption is one of the number one issues here with pesticides. But while the world is focused on these lawsuits with Roundup, with Bayer and Monsanto, the world of agriculture and the company itself is just moving on and pressing forward without the world really recognizing that there's so much more worse going on than just glyphosate and Roundup. And as horrible as glyphosate is, and it really, really is, and on top of that, Roundup makes it worse with the final formulation of the product. It's highly toxic. It is actually one of the safer, which it's not safe, but it's actually one of the less toxic pesticides being sprayed on our crops today. So whoever's out there, how many of you know that genetically modified foods go far beyond Roundup? Because we're already to the point, it's only been since the mid-90s that we've been growing these crops, and within a decade there were already super weeds that were no longer sensitive to Roundup and needed, they were growing like crazy. And so now it was like, okay, well, what's plan B? So they take these genetically modified plants and continue to modify them to make them resistant to other pesticides. So there's another pesticide called dicamba. And dicamba's been around since the 50s, early 60s, and it's a very dangerous pesticide. One that they ended up banning and not using once the 70s glyphosate came out, and then in the 90s, once it was genetically modified, it was all about Roundup. Well, now since we have these super weeds that are Roundup resistant, and it's a pain in the butt for the farmers, they're deciding to stack these genetic traits on top of these plants. And so now you have plants that are, specifically soybeans and cotton, that are Roundup resistant and now dicamba resistant, as well as another more toxic pesticide called 2,4-D. 2,4-D is the newest pesticide that they're genetically modifying to make our crops resistant to, so they can spray all over all year long and kill the weeds while the crop grows, and then we eat it. Well, 2,4-D is the active ingredient in Agent Orange, which was used in Vietnam, that killed tons of soldiers, tons of Vietnamese natives, and the birth defects that have been happening since that was sprayed over those jungles to deforest the jungles during the war has just been horrific. Horrible, disabled birth defects, tons of horrible disabilities, veterans that are having babies with spina bifida and all kinds of other problems from Agent Orange. Well, now that's been approved. And it's not just 2,4-D. There's actually two active ingredients in Agent Orange. 2,4-D and then another one called like 2,4,5-T or something. But it is very toxic and not safe. And so now, this has been going on for a couple of years already, that the farmers are going out and they're spraying their Roundup, then they're going out and they're spraying dicamba, and they're spraying 2,4-D on top of all the other approved pesticides like atrazine and all these other ones that are out there. There's literally hundreds that are sprayed on our food all year long. And nobody thinks about the consequences of combining them as we eat them in our bodies, and we're getting all these poisons and this nasty cocktail of poisons and then medications and all this unnatural crap, all the chemicals that we put in our food, and we eat it and we eat it and we eat it, and we are just destroying our bodies. And it is a subtle and slow death for most, but it is rapid and horrific for others. Either way, it doesn't matter which trajectory you're on, slow or rapid, you are killing yourself by not paying attention to your food. So pay close attention to how you source your food. And the first step is going organic. The next could be, finding local farmers and ranches and buying directly from them after you visit their farm and learn if they're utilizing organic and if it's pasture raised and if it's grass fed. Whatever you learn about and find important, you need to focus on that. But to start, to keep it convenient, go to the grocery store, only buy organic or non-GMO verified, preferably organic, because organic it has to be non-GMO, and they can't use synthetic pesticides. Okay, so we're already 11 minutes in. Let's just jump over to a few articles, because there are a couple things I just want to cover, but I just kind of wanted to have that chat and talk through that, because it is really, really important. Okay, so as I just mentioned, the EPA reapproves the key Roundup chemical glyphosate. So the agency, the EPA, is doubling down on its claim that the chemical glyphosate doesn't pose a danger to humans despite thousands of lawsuits that attribute cancer to Roundup. Goes on to talk about how the EPA's latest decision on glyphosate-based herbicides adds to a long-term evaluation. They're justifying it there. The EPA's results differ from some research, such as 2015 analysis, which says the glyphosate is probably carcinogenic. Look, they try to keep the science super vague on purpose. Well, it could, but it couldn't. And if you use it the way we tell you to, it's not going to be dangerous. But I promise you, it is. Independent research shows massive cancer growth, shortened lifespan, kidney damage, liver damage. It goes on, and that's just Roundup. Okay? So you can tell where their allegiance lies, and that is with industry. And they want to support industry over supporting you as an individual and your health. Okay? Big agriculture, Bayer, Monsanto, Dow DuPont, Syngenta, all these groups are some of the largest lobbyists in the political world. Okay? And this agriculture is highly subsidized by the government. And we export a ton of this stuff to other countries. We make a lot of money on this garbage that is basically leading us into the healthcare world, which is also one of the biggest money makers. So we buy the food, it makes us sick. Now we're sick, we go get the healthcare. They continue to rake in the money. It's disgusting. Let's look at this. RoundupReadyExtend.com. How exciting. Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. So the Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans are the #1 soybean system planted in the U.S. for a reason, by providing tolerance to dicamba and glyphosate herbicides to protect their proven yield potential. So this is a really horrible situation for the farmers. Okay, so back in the 90s, people were just growing food, regular old food, and they all did a great job at it. And then Monsanto introduced Roundup Ready seeds. So let's say Farmer 1 here invests in the Roundup Ready seed, and Farmer 2 right next door doesn't. Well, Farmer 1 goes out and starts spraying his entire crop with Roundup. Well, that drifts over to Farmer 2 and it kills his entire crop. So now Farmer 2 has no choice but to next time buy Roundup resistant seeds to avoid his crop being destroyed from the neighbor's drift. Okay, this is what happened in the 90s. And then also those seeds pollinated onto natural heirloom products, and those genes were taken up by those plants, and then Monsanto would sue them for growing their crop and take their farm. Even though they didn't steal it, it was cross-pollinated by the wind. So this is a horribly corrupt company. Well, now farmers are in the exact same situation. They've all invested into the Roundup Ready seed, but then Farmer A goes and buys this Extend because they're getting super weeds growing through their crop, and now they're going to start spraying glyphosate, Roundup, and dicamba. And then this dicamba actually vaporizes rather quickly and drifts for miles. So this is destroying other soy fields, corn fields, peach orchards, tons of agriculture is being destroyed by the drift from this dicamba. And now dicamba is not even enough already. So now we have Extend Flex, which is going to be triple stacked. Triple stacked for herbicide tolerance of dicamba, glyphosate, and now glufosinate. So now you can go out and spray the crap out of your crop with 3 poisons, and it'll continue to grow. And then we can sell it to people and they can eat it. So dicamba is a disaster, and it's destroying farmers' fields that don't have dicamba, which is then forcing them to buy the seed again. And who's in charge and who's raking in all the money? The agricultural companies that design these seeds. Okay, so some articles you can take a look at. This is just the website for the product, right? RoundupReadyExtend.com. Modern Farmer has an article in here from August of 2016, which is when this all started to get approved, how dicamba, the drift is destroying all these other farms. And so there's a lot of litigation going on, and they knew this would happen. They even admitted, they said, yeah, we knew it would happen, but what are you going to do? People need to move on and move forward. And so then 2,4-D, which I mentioned. So this from Associated Press, March 2019, says last year it was dicamba, this year it's 2,4-D. A volatile weed killer linked to cancer and endocrine issues will likely be sprayed on millions more acres of soybeans and cotton across the Midwest and South starting this year. In January, China approved imports of genetically modified soybean variety Enlist E3 soybeans, jointly made by Corteva Agriscience, a division of Dow DuPont seed company, MS Technologies, that can withstand herbicide 2,4-D. Again, one of the active ingredients in Agent Orange. Oh, this is great news for U.S. soybean growers. This announcement clears the way for even more soybean growers to experience the high-yielding elite genetics and exceptional weed control offered by the Enlist E3 soybean stem. This is horrible. The International Agency of Research on Cancer named the weed killer a possible human carcinogen. Studies have also linked 2,4-D to endocrine disruption, disturbing the estrogen, androgen, and thyroid hormones. So again, we're all going to be experiencing more thyroid issues unless you purposely avoid these poisons. 2,4-D, dicamba, Roundup, and so many more. Buy organic. I'm just trying to really drive this home so that you guys know that when you go to the grocery store, if you're choosing out of organic, you're purposely poisoning your family. Before it was, what's the word where you don't know it? Ignorance. Okay? I was ignorantly destroying the health of myself, my wife, and my kids for years, decades, destroying their health. I know better now, and I will never allow that to happen. And I do everything I can to make sure we stick to a clean organic diet. And it's annoying to my family. They hate it because I'm so strict about it. But I continually research because I know how important it is. And they make exceptions. I don't force them to do what I say. We're all individuals, and we all have our favorites. They give in to their favorites every once in a while. That's fine. Me and Holden, we stick to our plan. So anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention in the agricultural world. And not only is that destroying our health, but we feed a lot of these products to cattle, to pigs, to chickens, and it just ends up back coming to us as we utilize those products, milk, eggs, actual meat. You get the point. Organic. All right, another stupid thing. There's so much going on about coronavirus. I'm not even going to talk about it. I've already told you it's a bunch of BS. Stay healthy, you'll be fine. But they're leveraging this in so many ways. This outbreak was definitely designed, and they're watching every aspect of how this is going to be. This is a social experiment. This is a medical experiment. They want to see if you're going to march to their orders, right? If you show symptoms, you don't do anything but come to the hospital. You don't need to go to the hospital. Your chances of dying are going to be more, most likely, unless your symptoms have gotten so severe that you know you're struggling with some type of pneumonia or something. Sure, go get help. Otherwise, let that fever ride. You'll get better. You'll be fine. but they're writing this fear. I mean, look at this article. Should you get a flu shot to help with coronavirus anxiety? Yes, this will give you peace of mind, and the flu is so much worse anyway, and blah, blah, blah. What a bunch of bullcrap. Don't buy into this. Really, if you're really scared, then use that as motivation to straighten out your lifestyle and get your health in order so that these types of things just aren't scary to you, because you know that you're doing everything you can to keep your body healthy and strong. That's the anxiety that you need to steer. Okay, you want to leverage anxiety as a motivator? Let it motivate you to make better decisions at the grocery store, to make better decisions about when you eat, so that you're not grazing throughout the day and eating late at night. Time your meals, be done. Move on. Be healthy. Start learning about how your body works. Start managing your hormones. Start managing macronutrients, and learn about nutrition and how to support your body naturally. Here's another interesting article from today. Experimental HIV vaccine regimen ineffective in preventing HIV. This one's from the National Institute of Health, but there's lots of articles that went off about this today. Of course, it hit the news wire and everybody wrote something about it. Bottom line is, these vaccines don't work. And that's HIV is a horrible disease, and it also looks to be one of those man-made things. If you look into the history, it gets pretty shady. But either way, you practice a healthy lifestyle, safe sex, you'll be fine. Okay, these vaccines are a ridiculous solution so that they can say, oh, do whatever you want, live free, and blah, blah, blah. We have vaccines and pills that can take care of any side effect. It's not true. Here's another interesting article. Report, Monsanto pays Google to bury unfavorable news. This one comes from Golden Age of Gaia, and they dive into how there were these coordinated efforts where this particular person, Carrie Gillum, that had been reporting on the health effects of Monsanto's products years back, became a part of this huge campaign where Monsanto paid Google to basically shadow ban any information about this guy. Really, what happens if they searched Carrie Gillum, or girl, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but if they searched information about this reporter, then Monsanto generated a bunch of talking points against this reporter's stuff. And so when they would Google looking for their specific information, Google would say, oh, here's this other information, and only lead them toward whatever this person was talking about. So let's see if I can, yeah. The spreadsheet shows how Monsanto planned to launch a new website full of their talking points and paid to make sure it popped up when people Googled Gillum's name. And this is common. This is exactly what's been happening over the past few years. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, especially in the vaccine realm. I've had people reach out to me because I talk a lot about it and going, I need your help. I do want to research vaccine information, but I can't find anything online that isn't just pro-vaccine. You know, how do I find the information that teaches you about the risk? Well, the algorithms will prevent you. It's called shadow banning. It's done on purpose. I can help you. That's why I've put together playlists. That's why I put out information. That's why I teach people how to use PubMed and go out and do your own research and study the actual journal entries that are out there. There's just more and more information about here. Farmer versus farmer. Again, after tens of thousands of acres of crop damage, what are we to make of the dicamba debacle? This one is from today. So dicamba is causing all kinds of problems. It's destroying people's crops. And what they're going to tell you is it's the weather, it's the floods, it's all this stuff. Well, no, it's our own science that's destroying our crops. We're doing it in order to control the world's food supply. And if you control the world's food supply, you control the entire population. That's what it is all about. It is all about control. So I wanted to point you in the direction of dicamba, 2,4-D, all these toxins, why our farmers are so frustrated and they're being forced into these programs, because if they don't, their crop is destroyed by neighbors who were basically forced into it themselves. So it goes on and on and on. Here it is. Monsanto executive testifies the company expected dicamba to drift. and destroy other people's crops. Yeah, we knew it would happen. Whatever. It's not a big deal. We'll just sue anybody that comes after us. Monsanto projected almost 3,000 complaints from dicamba in 2017. And in fact, they received over 3,000. So they projected 2,765. They received over 3,000. 3,101 came through. So they already knew they were going to destroy other people's crops. They don't care. It's all part of their plan. So anyway, lots of articles. You can go in and start doing your own research on dicamba, the 2,4-D, Roundup resistant, how they're stacking these traits, regardless of the health consequences, regardless of what it's going to do to the entire population, not just humans, animals. They know this is causing issues with birds, insects, rodents. We're just going to have a bunch of disabled animals and people all over the world because of our interventions, because of us playing God. Instead of just learning how to be responsible organic farmers, consumers, and this is how you can make the difference. You vote with your money. Stop buying their crap and start investing in that higher priced organic product. And the more people buying organic, the more farmers are going to want to grow organic because they're not getting their conventional garbage sold. Okay? And then that creates competition, and they have to get into the thing and lower their pricing, and things will get more affordable the more people start buying organic. Where can you get organic? Costco's fantastic. For us, we basically shop Costco, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and Kroger. Kroger has a ton. They have a whole line called Simple Truth and Simple Truth Organic that competes with everything that Whole Foods carries, basically. So between Costco, here in Colorado, Kroger is King Soopers. So Costco and King Soopers, Sprouts and Natural Grocers, we get everything that we ever want. We make most of our food at home. And then if we eat out, we do so very responsibly. We order clean. You avoid things like mayo because it's mostly soy. Ketchup because it's loaded with sugar and corn syrup. Mustard's great. So if I go, which we don't eat out. If I'm ever forced to eat out, maybe I'll grab Five Guys, do it in a burger bowl, and get the burger with grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, jalapenos, and mustard. Everything else is going to be either loaded with sugar or soy or corn syrup, and I actually try not to eat out ever. I did when Holden was in the ER because I was stuck there for a few days, and that's about it. So be responsible. It's up to you. It is up to you. In fact, let me just go back to just us. Why do I care what you guys do? Because it really comes down to one thing. I've witnessed enough suffering to last many lifetimes. Okay, I've witnessed well over 100,000 seizures, and many of them so severe that I've basically held my child to the point of death, the brink of death, every week of my life for the past 10 years, and sometimes almost every single day. That's why I care, because I don't want you to go through it. I don't want your children to go through it. I don't want this world to be like this. But it's up to us to change it. It's up to us to spread awareness, to help teach people, because we're kept ignorant for a reason. We get into these habits, and habit is very powerful. And so change your habits, change your lifestyle. Learn to eat at home, to make your meals from scratch if possible. Every once in a while, you'll probably have some kind of somewhat processed thing, but make sure it's organic. And stay away from vague ingredients like natural flavors, modified anything, modified food starch, modified cornstarch, modified proteins, isolated this, isolated that. Keep the ingredients natural, clean, whole, and you will be amazed how your health will turn around, How all of a sudden you stop needing prescriptions and even supplements, and all of a sudden you're just living off clean food and you're feeling better than you've ever felt in your entire life. That's my goal for you. It's my goal for me. It's my goal for my kids. And we're in the process of healing. We've been at this for years. We're getting better and better and better. And I love it. And I want to help everyone start their own path down a similar journey of clean living, wholesome lifestyle, happiness. Okay? We'd have a totally different life if we weren't faced with the disability challenges that we face in our family. We're very restricted, very restricted. We watch our friends and family go out and skiing and playing and swimming and doing all these things, and it's like, sorry, we're having a bad week, we're having a bad day, we can't do it. I'm here, we've got other kids. Like, I feel horrible for my other kids that are actually that have normal ability but have no chance of going out and having the same type of social life that everyone else has, because we're so tied to keep our son alive for as long as we can. And they totally get it, and they're so loving and appreciative, and they're super helpful, but it's affected us all at a very big level. And so I just spend so much time trying to help others never have to face what we have faced, and never have to face what I've witnessed many other families in our circle of friends that have to face every day. We have a large circle of friends, especially here in Colorado, and it all revolves around special needs, vaccine injury, seizures, G-tube feedings, diabetes, cerebral palsies, muscular dystrophies, you name it. It's ridiculous, the level of disability that our society faces today. Chronic illness, autoimmune disease, allergies, asthmas, all of it. And it all ties back to science and the corruptness of it, and how science has been hijacked and designed to protect industry, and industry doesn't give a shit. They just try to create something that they think you want, or build a problem and then create a solution for it, and we buy it. You're better than this. We're better than this. We get to be the change by taking control of our life, by taking control of our buying habits, by taking control of our lifestyle habits, and actually making wise decisions, being active, being healthy, being strong. And that's what I expect from all of us. I think you guys are strong. I think you're smart. I'm excited that you get to go down this journey. You guys help me. I try to help you. And this is how we're changing the world. A collective consciousness of growth, of positivity, and love. And as usual, love you guys. Thanks. Bye.